Have you ever watched someone lose everything and still keep standing? Not just standing, but walking forward. Heart heavy, but unbroken. Because others were counting on him. Joe Biden has lived through storms most people wouldn't survive. But through it all, he never gave up on people. Never gave up on hope. And never stopped believing that kindness still mattered. He was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania, raised in a modest Irish Catholic family. His father lost his job. The family had to move to Delaware and start over. Money was tight. Life was uncertain. But what shaped Joe even more than poverty was something you couldn't see. He had a stutter, a deep one. Words got stuck in his throat. He was mocked by classmates. They laughed.
And subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.
But young Joe didn't give up. He stood in front of the mirror, night after night, reciting poetry, training his voice like a boxer trains his fists. He wasn't just learning to speak. He was learning how to fight. With silence, with pain, with perseverance. And that pain? It became his superpower. He learned how to understand others. How to listen. Because he knew what it felt like to be unheard. That compassion followed him into law school. And then into politics. At just 29 years old, Joe Biden entered the U.S. Senate, becoming one of its youngest members ever. He was sharp, determined, and brimming with potential. He built a life with his wife, Nylia, and was a loving father to their 3 children, Beau, Hunter, and their baby daughter, Naomi. Then, tragedy came crashing through the joy. Just weeks after the election, Nylia and Naomi were killed in a car accident. Beau and Hunter were badly injured. The news shattered him. He thought about quitting, walking away from everything. What good was power when your whole world had just been ripped away? But Joe made a choice. He stayed, not for politics, but for his sons. Each day, he commuted by train between his home in Delaware and the capital in Washington, D.C. 3 hours round trip. Just so he could tuck his boys into bed every night. That train ride became a symbol. A symbol of love. Of responsibility. Of quiet, steady strength. Eventually, life brought healing. He met Jill, a schoolteacher with warmth in her eyes and calm in her voice. She helped Joe believe in second chances. Together, they built a new family, not by replacing the past, but by honoring it. They raised their children with values rooted in service, empathy, and courage. His son Beau grew into a man of honor, an army officer, a state attorney general, a public servant. Joe often said, "Beau is me only better." But once again, life delivered an unbearable blow. In 2015, Beau Biden died of brain cancer. Joe was by his son's side, holding his hand in his final moments. It was the kind of loss that stops time. That breaks something deep inside you. But Joe kept moving. Not because he was strong, but because he had to be. During his years as vice president under Barack Obama, Joe Biden became known as the comforter-in-chief. He wasn't flashy. He didn't care about the spotlight. He cared about people. He cried with families who lost loved ones. He whispered encouragement to those who felt unseen. He remembered names, faces, stories because he carried them with him. When the 2020 election came, America was hurting. Divided. Afraid. Exhausted. People questioned whether Joe Biden, at his age, with his quiet style, could really lead. But maybe, that's exactly why he could. Because he didn't lead with ego. He led with empathy. He didn't shout. He listened. He didn't promise magic. He promised decency. And the country responded. He won not just an election, but the trust of millions who were ready for something steady. Today, Joe Biden is not just the President of the United States. He's the survivor of life's hardest trials. The father who kept going. the man who buried 2 children and still found a reason to believe in tomorrow. He doesn't lead from a throne. He leads from experience, from loss, from love. Joe Biden's story isn't just about politics. It's about purpose. About what it means to fall and rise. To cry and still care. To be broken and still believe. In a world that can seem cold and fractured, he is proof that a tender heart can still carry the weight of a nation.
Whose inspiring story of politician would you like to hear next? Tell us in the comments below.